everyone, Clive Adams here once more to have a bit of a look back to the 2012 World Bowls Championships. It was a home World Bowls Championships in 2012 at Lockleys in South Australia, and it was a gold rush for Australia, and we are having fun looking back at some of those matches. And today it's the women's triples, the combination of Karen Murphy, Lynsey Clarke and Natasha Van Eldik that join me to have a look back and see what we can remember from that wonderful time 10 years ago. Kaz, welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Clive. Great to be involved in the 10-year reunion. Look back on it.
Yeah, it's exciting times, Lens. We're trying to remember back 10 years ago. It seems like almost a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of weird because it feels like a lifetime, but also feels like yesterday, all mixed up in one. You can remember the moments and the celebrations, and just so successful and lots of fun.
And of course, Tash, welcome. And again, nice to have a chance to look back with everyone here.
Yeah, thank you. How's it gone 10 years? That's just crazy to think that it was, that long ago, but it only feels like yesterday.
All right. Well, let's have a think back to how it all went, and I'll come to you first, Lynsey. In the lead up, one match dropped to England in the qualifying, so the form was good. It's pretty hard to go through undefeated in the qualifying of these sorts of things. So the confidence must have been strong going in.
Yeah, I think so. This is really cool, actually, because it is. I can remember. I just need a few little quotes. I'm 39 now, so. But yeah, it was pretty epic. I think playing with the girls, and Adelaide's not the easiest to play at the best of times with the wind that circles there, but we definitely had a lot of confidence built through the entire event, and the fact that the whole team was going so well. On top of that, really, I guess, spurred us all on, and we had such a compatible side. We all enjoyed each other's company. The results going well on the green, kind of like it all went hand in hand, and it was just really a really awesome build up. Getting that through the sectional stage is the first tick in the box.
And of course, it was New Zealand that you were playing against. Tash had already played them in the qualifying rounds. You had a 16-10 win over them. Did that give you a little bit more confidence going into the final?
Absolutely, but you can never underestimate New Zealand. They're always going to come out, and perform, great, which probably it wasn't their greatest event in the final, but, it definitely gave us a bit of confidence. And that's exactly what I needed, being, one of my first world championships, to go out there with two legends of the game. And I just, I was a nervous wreck. I will never forget the first few ends. But yeah, that's all I needed.
Can we just, sorry to interrupt, can we just talk about those first few ends, Tash, when you disappeared momentarily?
Oh, yeah. Look, as I said, I was a nervous wreck. I just needed to calm those nerves, and I just needed to go and have my little time away. I felt a bit ill in the stomach, and something may have come up, but that's okay. But when I come back, I was fine. I was $1 million.
I think we've talked about this before, Tash. I think I've heard this story before, but there you go. So I was going to ask about nerves, but we've settled those. Look, your first bowl was pretty good, wasn't it? That first bowl actually landed, I think it was only just a few inches from the jacks. That must have settled the nerves a little bit, but sounds like there was a little bit more went on to settle the nerves.
Look, it doesn't matter how close you get them. The first bowl, those nerves are always going to be there. And I suppose, once they were gone after the first, few ends, when I just ducked off, I suppose, being amongst these two legends, as I said before, they just calm your nerves. And once we got out to that good little lead, there was no nerves there, and everything, settled down.
Kaz, there was a bit of talk about the win. Lynsey already alluded to it. What can you remember of the conditions going into the game?
Yeah, I suppose we're probably favourites going into the game. And as Tash said, New Zealand are always going to be hard to beat. They didn't have, Joe and Val weren't in that side. Mandy skipped it, Mandy Boyd. So I took sort of a lot of confidence in that we'd been there and prepared really well on those greens. Lynn's alluded to, they're super quick, they're super dry and really windy, and it's very, very fluky to play at Lockley. So and I'm sure the girls are the same, but I relish playing in conditions like that. It's sort of, survival of the most mentally fit. I think sometimes in those, just resilience really sort of is an important sort of feather to have in your cap. So They played well. We got out of the blocks. It was fairly even from memory. And then, we sort of were trying to kick away. And then, I think we ended up getting a number and off we went, sort of thing. And we celebrated pretty well when we sort of just went up into fifth gear. I think there was something in us that just went, we had a bit of a team huddle, I remember, and went, right, girls, let's really sort of bring this home, and went up into fifth gear and just went on from there.
Yeah, I want to work through some of the elements of the match shortly, but it was 3-bowl triples, which was one of the things that jumped off the page to me when I had a look back at the match. We really don't see 3-bowl triples played much anymore, Karen, but it was back then a little bit more of the game, wasn't it?
Yeah, rarely played 3-bowl triples, I think. Like, for looking back, I haven't played a lot of triples, to be honest, internationally. Played in Glasgow with the girls and probably World Bowls, and that was probably about it, I think. But, it's a different game to 2-bowl, that's for sure. There's obviously a lot more bowls in the head. 2-game triples is more, a leads game, leads and sort of seconds game, but 3-bowls are, obviously more in the head, and it's probably a bit more of an aggressive game, I would imagine. So, 3-bowl triples, there we go.
Do you think we need to bring back these random format, like Kaz and I played 2-bowl pairs at the Melbourne 06 games, and then 3-bowl triples, maybe 1-bowl fours? That could be good.
Mix it up a little bit. Yeah, maybe. That might be the way to go. The home series, Tash, perhaps I'll come to you. The home series, does it put more pressure on, or does it ease pressure? Because obviously you've got lots of support in the stands, but with that builds expectations. So, you've experienced a lot over the years now. What do you prefer, and how do you get the focus right?
For me, I think home ground is an advantage. You've got the massive crowd, you've got the family, you're able to prepare, which we did really well in Adelaide. It pretty much become our home over there. And with that come the locals as well, and you get plenty of people, as I said, in the stands. And I reckon if you can get that crowd behind you, there's an easy 5 shots in them as well. So, I'm all for the home ground, and I love it. I absolutely thrive, in Australia.
Let's get into the actual game. And the first couple of ends sort of were quite. There was a long end to start the match, and then as soon as you won an end, you went straight to a shorter length, and you picked up a 4. Karen, are you claiming those tactics? And you got a 4, so go with it. But
that was definitely a good skipper's call there, Clive. No, I can't remember.
But was there any thought process? Like, obviously you'd already played New Zealand, so they'd opted to go long on the first end. Did you go in with any particular set game plan?
Yeah, we definitely would have. And we had the luxury of even was it Asia Pacifics the year before, girls, or something like that? We'd had events over there where we'd played sort of quite a bit of competitive bowls sort of thing. So even no changes even today. Like there's always game plans. There's always plan A. There's always plan B sort of thing. So short ends over there on a really quick fluky green is probably a really good tactic sort of thing. So, to pick up a 4 was, something that was going to sort of put us on the front foot, that's for sure.
Yeah, they grabbed a 3 right back, and it sort of tightened things back up again. And then it was a trail of the jack from Lynsey Clarke that made a big difference in the match. And Lynsey, there's a couple of things I want to talk to you about that, but that trail gave you a chance to grab a 5 and really gave you that impetus to have that lead going down the stretch.
Yeah, I can vividly remember that, 1, because it's made the highlight reel, so I get to see it regularly. But 2, I remember thinking in that moment, like there was still a fair bit of room, but I just felt like the way it was building, the way that end was setting up, there wasn't a big target. It wasn't easy to draw yourself out of trouble on that green. And I remember thinking, I think this is a moment. And it's everything in me thought, this is our end. I think Kaz played a couple of biggies, and Mandy sort of failed to sort of cut down, I think, by memory. She's such a good hitter. So I think the key, I think we did talk about trying not to build big heads and taking the moment when it's there. So, it's making me excited now. I think I might go watch a replay.
Well, speaking of going back 10 years, I noticed one Brad Clark in the crowd a fair bit. He actually got a fair bit of airtime on the coverage of the match. And, of course, at that stage, it was Lynsey's fiancée.
It was. Yeah, it was Lynsey Armitage. That was another lifetime ago. But yeah, Brad and his best mate, actually, Nugget from Shepparton down in Victoria there, came over for the World Champs. I think they had Aussie get up on and Armitage shirts across the back and Aussie caps and stuff. But it was just, yeah, I think that made it even more special that they were there in the crowd and no kids back then either. So that was another novelty. But yeah, that was pretty cool. I think, yeah, they had a lot of fun, the boys in the crowd, and yeah, great sporting event for them.
Now, you spoke about how Mandy was a good hitter. So I'll come to you on this one, Tash, first. So you get down to that final end. Jack's been skewed out to the side, and you think, well, maybe we should block it off so that Mandy can't attack and try and kill the end. Was that the plan?
Oh, we'll roll with it. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to remember. Oh, well, the reason I came to you, Tash, I wanted to know whether that was the plan, because what did Karen Murphy actually do with that bowl? She drew another one right next to the jack. So
Look, that's a long time ago, 10 years. I can't remember bowl for bowl, but yeah, Mandy was a phenomenal hitter. And so we just had to play our game tactically to reduce that risk of her absolutely smacking the head. And yeah, we did it well.
And really, as we alluded to, Kaz, it came down to really those two big ends, the 4 and the 5. Just shows you how important a couple of big scores in a match can be. And that gave you enough room to not even have to play the final end.
Yeah, I vividly remember the Lynn's trailing the jack, and it did make the highlight reel. But I remember that end absolutely, like it was not long ago at all. But I think that was the catalyst that spurred us on. That actually gave us that fifth gear, and we felt like we were on top of them after we got that 5 sort of thing. So it was a huge moment in the match. Glad it was us that got the 5 and not them. So yeah.
Tash, you touched on it earlier about playing alongside these two stars of the sport. Tell us what it meant to you at that stage, because you certainly would have watched Kaz coming through in the early days of her career and of yours. So tell us what it was like to and the confidence you must have drawn from having those two out in the rink with you.
Absolutely. When the team got announced and, I was told that I was playing triples with these two, it was an absolute honour and a privilege to be in the company. But I made sure that I took on everything that they said, and I learnt a lot from, the both of them. I remember, there was one day where I needed to just focus on rolling that jack, and pretty much I didn't take my bowls at all to the club, and all I did was roll jacks all day, because I knew that if I could roll this jack properly, then I was going to, help out my team. And that's what I could do. So I definitely remember, 10 years, man, I was young then.
You sort of all were, but yeah.
But I remember, I was quite young, and, I was probably a rat bag, so I just needed to get back into my box a little bit and listen to these these older crew that I was with. But yeah, it was an honour and a privilege to be in their company.
Oh.
Look, Karen and Lynsey, you can both answer this if you like, but was this World Championships the real launching pad for what the Jackaroos have done? I mean, the last 10 years have been massive for the Jackaroos, really. The performances have just kept coming and coming. Was this the one, 5 gold medals, was this the one that really stamped Australia's authority and really pushed us forward for this last 10-year period? Whichever one of you wants to go.
I think we should both go. But I absolutely agree with that, Clive. And I have to say, looking back on a lot of the events, international events that I'd been involved in, Commonwealth Games and World Champs and things, it was probably one of the best tours and most enjoyable tours that we've ever had. We stayed at like a really cool caravan park in cabins for World Champs. We had team barbecues. Our family attended. It was just a really good vibe. It was just, I think. Glass had been in for probably 18 months or 2 years or so, I think, at that stage. And 2010 he came on. So, yeah, 2012, it was sort of the kickstart of the really awesome Australian bowls culture, I think. It was the first event that we really sort of embraced it. And, yeah, look, there was I remember there was an event where, there might have been a couple of, little whinges here and there, and Glass had a bit of a session with us and got the team together and got the cricket bat out and gave us a bit of a talking to and said, hey, you guys, like pull your socks up, and that was good too, like that was probably the first time that had ever happened, I think. But we walked away, the success of that event was absolutely phenomenal, and we were all riding that wave. Not every single player in that team out of the 10 came away as a world champion. We were waiting on Leif's last bowl in the singles for us all to jump on that plane and have a gold medal round. And I've got goosebumps even talking about it, thinking about it. So the wave of the success, that was definitely the first international event that sort of kicked the Aussie Jackaroos off, and led by Glass. And also, I was just going to say, Faye Luke, our team manager, yes, was an integral part of that event as well, and someone who's very, very dear to our hearts and we miss very much. That was probably the first event we actually really got to know Faye, or Dalsey as we know her. It's one of the most enjoyable events I've played in.
Just a beautiful lady, Lyns.
Yeah, look, just echoing Kaz's sentiments, I think. There was five gold medals, but the fact that all 10 of us came home world champs, I'm not sure that will ever be done again. That's a huge effort, and I'm glad it was Leif out there, the only one not to have a gold medal, and not be a world champion and have that last event, the pressure. But I think for me, like Kaz alluded to, Glass coming in, the way he was able to balance the high performance environment with the fun, the connection, the people first, it was really player driven and player focused, and the players were number one, but still being able to keep that high performance environment going. He just did that so well. He brought in the right people. Kaz mentioned Dalsey, having someone like her in our corner, we just felt energy. We had Dobbo, his experience, Glass with his experience. We've got people, I think as well, why it's so special that we had, Wiz, Case, Rudy, Beck, they've all retired and disappeared now, but, they're going to be icons of the sport, and they went on to be icons of the sport from that moment. It was really, really special. And again, like Kaz said, I've played, I think, over 400 games. That you got Kaz way too many, and Tash is close to 400, I think. But that little time of my Jackaroos career is a definite highlight.
Well, what an amazing time it was. To the three of you, congratulations. It's been my pleasure to go back and celebrate 10 years on, and look back at that whole period that has just become an amazing time for the Jackaroos. So to all of you, congratulations again, 10 years on. We're all getting a bit goosebumpy thinking back about it, but congratulations, and thanks very much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Cheers. Thanks.